Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! If you're gonna watch this, you're gonna know the whole movie. The whole thing. You have been warned.
Hello. How old are you? 8. Me too. Why do you wear pajamas all day?
The soldiers. They took all our clothes away.
My dad's a soldier, but not the sort that takes people's clothes away.
All right, welcome everybody to the F&M Movie Review Show. I'm Braden Smith, and we have some fresh faces.
I'm Didosio Habi.
I'm Alante Guajardo.
And today we're doing a spoiler review of The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. So here we go. Spoilers ahead.
Okay, so before I saw the film, I was thinking this might be okay to watch. I thought it might be interesting to watch two young kids and that relationship dynamic under those circumstances. And so I was delightfully surprised when I actually got to the realness of it.
Right on.
Yeah.
My initial impression before seeing the film was I actually didn't know anything about it. I thought that it was about the Middle East for some reason, and I didn't know it was about Nazis or a Holocaust or anything like that. My wife had been trying to get me to watch it for years, and so I kind of just thought it was maybe a Twilight type movie.
Yes.
And so yeah, but I didn't know anything going into it.
My first impressions of this movie were that it was going to be a really depressing movie. And it's just anything that's related to the Holocaust or the Nazi era is really a downer. And I kind of put this movie away because I knew that it was just going to be one of those movies that you have to be in the mood to watch. And I know it's a must because, you know, all the words and, you know, it's kind of a decent, suppose it has a decent story to it. So I had to check it out and see what the fuss was about. So
Awesome.
yeah. Okay, so when the movie starts, there's just like the credits, and there's just like this red background, and it kind of gives you like the feeling of, you know, something that's, because red is a very aggressive color, so right off the bat, you know, this is going to be like a kind of a, you know, strong, depressing, violent kind of movie, and it kind of like fades into like a Nazi flag, and it's just like, I just thought that was really an interesting way to
completely
introduce.
agree.
Yeah.
I thought that I knew it was going to be a good film from the opening frame. I was like, this is going to be a good film.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Blue Velvet, you know, in a way. And I think maybe he got inspired from that as well. There's also quite a bit of audiovisual language. I've noticed when the kid moves in for the first time and he loses his friends and he's in his new environment and he's like at the house next to the farm and he's like on the staircase,
right?
And he's just there, and there are these bars, and it makes him look like he's basically imprisoned in this, you know, in his new home.
That's throughout, huh? They do that a lot.
And they also do that with the mom when she figures out that that dad is, you know, doing what he does, and she's also there just kind of like, you know, it's kind of very basic audiovisual language, but it's strong enough to show, you know, that part of it. Also like a lot, there's a mentioning of the kind of like a tip of the hat to The Godfather at one point.
I didn't pick up on that.
It's in the very beginning when all the Nazi soldiers go into this room with the dad, and she's just there and she doesn't know kind of his business, and they kind of like close the door on her, and it's kind of very Godfather-like when she's kind of like, well, I don't know what he does, but I guess, you know, it's important.
That is cool.
And I thought that was interesting in that department, in that, you know, sort of way, kind of like, maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was by accident.
Yeah.
Because you know how filmmakers sometimes do these things.
Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. But also, another good thing about this movie is that it's really short. And what happens with war movies is they become a bit too long and they drag because nobody wants to be stuck 3 hour in a 3 hour movie that's so depressing and that talks about the killings of the Nazis and the Holocaust. It's
Schindler's List.
Basically, yeah. So the fact that this movie is an hour and a half long is good, but also could be a bit bad in some ways.
I agree. Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have any more good things that you want to talk about that you liked about it?
Yeah,
We can come back to it too.
I mean, the acting was good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the acting was pretty decent, especially for the kids, because you know how kids are notorious for being bad actors most of the time. But I thought it was really innocent the way these two interacted. You could kind of tell that they're, when the kids have like these, they have marks.
Yeah, they look down
see their
and
marks.
yeah, for sure.
And that kind of throws you off the movie, but I thought most of it was pretty good.
Yeah,
from the kids, and of course the adults are, they're great because they're,
those guys are that's big boys stuff right there.
Exactly.
Right on. So the good for me, right off the bat, I would say that the premise for me was the best part of it. Like I said before, I didn't know what it was about going in.
Right.
And once I did figure out what it was, I don't think I've ever seen or read about that scenario where you're following a Nazi family.
Yeah.
And, I thought it was very original. Like I said, I don't remember anything like that. And I do like how, it follows these people that aren't necessarily into the whole Nazi thing.
Right.
And you don't see much of that when you're looking at Nazi things. You just see that, like, oh, they're all evil. And
Right.
Or you see it from the Jewish point of view.
right, you see it from other perspectives, but from the wife's perspective, the mother of the kid, and she was kind of ignorant to what was going on. I mean, she knew that something was going on, that.
Yeah.
But and then once she realized,
I think she was in denial.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then when she has that revelation, of the burning the bodies and everything, that was amazing.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking for her.
So, and then like you said, another good for me was the acting. I thought it was top notch, especially between the kids. That relationship between the boy in the camp and then the main boy was very emotional, and it was very well done. From the writing to what they were saying to each other, to the acting.
Great.
And so that was phenomenal for me.
For me, I think that the story itself was just phenomenal. I like the idea of an outsider, speaking of Bruno, going into the concentration camp. That just blew my mind because it was done in such a way that you really get a sense of his innocence and his naivete, and his genuine concern for his friend. One of the scenes that I think was most compelling was towards the end when they showed the close-up of the two friends holding hands in the last moment. I just thought that was a tremendous representation of crossing the line, if you will, given the story itself. I think that the older gentleman who was the housekeeper, the role he played
that was great.
Was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I found myself wanting to talk to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted him to have more to say.
I wanted to say I'm sorry to him, I'm really sorry.
I know. He played that so well, and you really got a sense of he was this doctor in a previous life. Now all of a sudden he's peeling potatoes in the kitchen, and he's made to feel so inhuman.
Right.
So the other thing that I thought was profound was how they depicted the reality of how the Jews were regarded by the Nazis, specifically when he spilled the wine in the kitchen, and all of a sudden he's getting just the hell beat out of him, and the family's right there eating, and father is like, okay, it's just something to do.
Right.
So to me, it was just a tremendous piece in the fact that it really captured the essence of humanity and inhumanity.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was very powerful. I agree.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool.
I kind of, it caught me off guard. the level of detail and the scope and just the depth of the story really caught me off guard.
Definitely.
And I'm delightfully surprised.
Right. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. So the bad for me, I'll start.
Okay.
The right off the bat, we were talking about right off the bat, I knew it was going to be an amazing film until, they started talking. And for me, the, whether it's accurate or not, like your predisposition to what Germans talk like and how they act, whether it's stereotypes or whatever, they come out and they start speaking, and some of them have like British accents, some of them are just like regular English, and it was very jarring for me. It kept taking me out of of the film, and I couldn't think of anything else except for, this is kind of dumb.
I had the exact same problem.
Yeah,
and it made me feel in the beginning that these were like British families living in Germany.
Oh yeah,
and
confusing.
like, the war is starting, so they're gonna go back to the motherland, right? No, they're like the most Nazi German family ever. And I was so confused. It's like, why are they speaking English?
Yeah.
And like, why is grandma not okay with the Nazis?
Right. And then the mom's just like, oh, hey, dear, instead of just like, yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
It's just weird.
It really threw me off, and it's kind of funny because it made me feel like the TARDIS, like when you're around the TARDIS in Doctor Who and you hear everything in your language, in English.
Right.
It was kind of comical in a way.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
Where maybe in another movie, like, I don't know, to say Inglourious Bastards.
Okay, there you go.
It's all in German.
Yeah.
And you get into that, into that world.
Makes it feel a little bit more authentic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A great example of a film that does what this film does, with just regular English, but it works, is Enemy at the Gates. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
they speak Russian and German, but they don't actually speak it. It's all English, and it works somehow, but it just doesn't work for this film.
Yeah.
Oh, because they speak kind of in a slang that's kind of like similar to
No,
Russian?
I mean, it's pretty much just... it's the same thing. It just works in that film. It doesn't work in this because for me, this film was it was really good, but I had too many issues with it. There were too many problems for it to be a really great film. So that has brought it down for me. I feel like there are moments where there's real glory, and it really affected me emotionally.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fleshed out enough, and for it to be great for me.
Okay. For me, I thought it was a great film only because the personal dynamics I thought were just awesome. I'm particularly keen on the relationship between Schmo and Bruno. I like the relationship Mom had, even though I feel that she could have been a little bit more assertive. They could have played it a little bit more assertive. But I think overall it really captured the essence of life as it might be from that perspective. So for that reason, and the fact that it gives you a whole lot to think about and a lot to talk about, I consider it a great film.
Great.
I actually agree with you both, and I'm actually standing right in the middle of that. And I think it's really, you can really feel the humanity in this movie. And the characters are great, but unfortunately they're not developed enough, and the story is not developed enough. And it's short, which is good, but it's also bad because of that reason, because it didn't develop everything up like it should. And I still think it's a good film, but it had so much potential to be greater.
So I rate this a solid. I can't do. Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll give it a 4. I want to give it a 4.25, but I understand I can't. But I'll give it a 4. Not quite 4.5, but going towards that that
Would you say that it would be a strong 4? Would strong 4?
I would
be
say it would
something
be a
you like?
solid 4.
Solid 4. Okay.
Solid 4.
Cool. Right on. Yeah, for me, it's a very solid top tier 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And like I said before, I'm right in between, so it's 3.5
Cool.
for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. We'll be back next week with an all-new show for you. Stay tuned. Take care. Bye. We love you.
Yes, what he said.
I enjoyed that.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, why not give it a thumbs up down below? While you're at it, why not hit the subscribe button to see more? Thanks again, guys.